Good morning. It is just about 7 a.m. back in Dyersville at the park here. We're going to be getting ready for round 2 of the Trial of Miles cross-country competition. I somehow advanced out of the Great Plains region with my high 19 minute time, or the 5K. This week we've been running an 8K, which is a distance I've only run once before, or raced once before. That time it was a 2019 Shamrock Shuffle. I ran a 32:59, or was it a 31:59? I think it was 31:59. I don't know if I'll be able to hit that today, but to help me out, I'm going to take out the New Balance FuelCell RC Elite. Let's go, let's do it. 1 mile in. All right, just hit the 5K mark, 19:57. Oh, 2 more K to go. Ah! 5.01 miles, or just a little bit more than 8K for the day. 6 minutes, 27 seconds per mile, 175 beats per minute on average, coming in at a total time of 32:17. Going for my first run in the New Balance RC Elite. Now, before I get into my thoughts on how this shoe did for the first run, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that I purchased with my own money. No one sent it to me or is reimbursing me for any purchase price. No one paying me to make this video. And no one's going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. Now, with the disclosures out of the way, let's talk about the New Balance RC Elite. Now, this is a shoe that I took out for an 8K today. I'm in round 2 of the Trial of Miles cross-country competition. I'm definitely in over my head, out of my league. Somehow I squeaked by on round 1 of this cross-country competition, and I'm in round 2. And there's still as of the filming of this video, there's still another day for people to enter times or submit times from this virtual race. And already I'm eliminated because everyone else's times are just blowing me out of the water. In fact, I think I'm pretty much last in this round. So there's that, but it doesn't have anything to do with the shoe because this shoe is fantastic. Earlier in the year, New Balance gave us the Fuelcell TC, which stands for Training and Competition. And now finally they've released the racing companion to that shoe, the RC Elite. And this is an incredibly exciting shoe to run in. What we have is a 25mm stack height shoe in the forefoot with a 10mm drop, which gives you 35mm of fuel cell foam in the heel. It's super squishy, super soft foam. It's lovely to run on, but there's also a carbon fiber plate in here to make sure you don't get too stuck in all that plush cushiness. So you're still gonna have really powerful push off with each stride. The whole tire package comes in at 7.3 ounces, making it pretty right on for what I would expect for a marathon racer. Now, I wasn't racing a marathon today. I was racing just the 8K because I figured I'd take it out for a race. You got new shoes, look good, feel good, maybe we'll race good. In fact, I think I raced pretty well for a virtual 8K. It's only the second time I've ever raced an 8K distance. I didn't run cross country in college, so only my second time at that distance, and I'm only 17 or 18 seconds off from my 8K PR from the 2019 Chicago Shamrock Shuffle. So feeling pretty good about that, doing that by myself in a virtual race on a Saturday morning in Dyersville, Iowa. But the shoe, though, in terms of how it held up, was just amazing. It has like super insane grip with this outsole that's on here. This rubber provides like a weird, super like grippier than you would think tactile sensation with each stride, and not in a bad way either. It's not like too sticky, but it's got this like crazy Spider-Man grip on it. I did have it mostly on the sidewalk for most of today, but quite a bit of dog walkers, joggers. Also on Saturday and Sunday mornings at this particular park, there's lots of softball or soccer that's going on. So lots of kids and adults just kind of starting to congregate in their early morning hours. So I did have to get onto the grass quite a bit. Did just fine there on some of those uneven and a little bit wet surfaces. Also did fine on the drive pavement as well. And it did a fantastic job of absorbing all the impact from the sidewalk for the length of that 8K at my 8K pace. And I didn't really know how to pace myself speed-wise, so I went by power. I went to the Stride Power Center, and kind of it knows my training history, and then I put in that it would be an 8K and what the temperatures were going to be. So it told me to go run it at 264 watts. So I averaged 264 watts exactly for the entire 8K, but I did come in like almost 40 seconds faster than I was thinking that I was going to come in at. So feeling pretty good about that. I guess my power to speed ratio is good. I think that's what that means, because the same thing happened to me last week when I did the 5K. I came in at the power number it told me to run, but the actual finishing time was faster than it had predicted. So overall, feeling pretty good about that. And back to the shoe though. The shoe is really small. I mean, it fits true to size. I'm wearing a size 9. This is a size 9. It fit me like a glove. I think they really nailed it. It's one of the best uppers that I've been in all year. I absolutely love it for racing. It's just super comfortable. This is kind of like, it almost looks like felt. It almost looks like a tennis ball. I have a thing for yellow tennis ball looking shoes, and this definitely like catches my eye. But the material is firm and supportive, but it's also nice and floppy, so it just molds to your foot. Practically see-through, so it's plenty breathable as well. The tongue is minimal. It kind of reminds me of like the Vomero 14 tongue when it first came out, and it looked like kind of like a soccer cleat with that front like flat part, the lace cover guard thing cut off. So it was almost like a too short tongue, which is the kind of tongue that I like on my shoes. There's a little bit of padding in there, and that was fine. Helped kind of protect the foot from when you're really cinching the laces down tight. Up top, there's a little bit of structure in this heel cup here and very little padding, but there is just a little bit, and you got a little bit of heel flare here in the Achilles as well to make it a little bit more comfortable. Not sure that they needed that, but the design cues match up with the TC. So I don't know if that's the only reason that's there, but you know, none of this got in my way. And at 7.3 ounces, I'm not going to complain that they have stuff on here that doesn't need to be on here. For the outsole, I already talked about this super crazy grippy stuff over here, but they've also got only very little amounts of rubber just on these two sections. Otherwise, you're directly on the midsole foam here. That's super soft stuff. I'll have to check on the durability of that and what that's going to be like when you're running kind of marathon pace type miles, because I am a little bit concerned about just how much of this part back here is exposed to just the raw road surface. The other thing that's interesting about this outsole though is that all these like little rubber like nubbins, lugs, whatever you want to call them, seem to be attached to something that's like a hard material here. Now that's not, I don't think that's the carbon fiber plate, but there's something like stiff that's on here. It's like almost like kind of like a little bit thicker and stiffer than just like dried up glue. So there's something else on here that's going to provide at least some measure of like rigidity, but there's also carbon fiber in here somewhere that I actually thought at 8K pace felt a little bit too soft. I was thinking that I would have liked a little bit more of a strong push-off feeling from this shoe, especially in the later stages of that 8K race when I was just basically dying. But I think though further testing is definitely required, kind of like in my review of the Artist last week when I took that out for the 5K. Same thing with this shoe too. I kind of left the race feeling like I would have really liked a little bit more carbon stiffness to it. But I think though at the marathon pace, which this is a marathon racing shoe, not a mile shoe, not a 5K shoe, not an 8K shoe, it's a marathon shoe. I think at that pace, the carbon fiber is going to be like tuned just right. So looking forward again to taking this one out for a longer spin at more of a slower pace or my marathon pace to see how it does at kind of more of its intended purpose. But from my experience today, what I can definitely say is that it's like an old school racing flat with a big old fat midsole on it. So kind of like exactly what I've been wanting from a lot of the super shoes that are entering the market this year. I feel like this is a really great execution and I can't wait to keep running on it. The other one thing that I will note about this shoe is that on the bottom, it's kind of got a very unusual design. Now it's got this little like heel flare over here that's been common in a lot of the New Balance kind of performance line of running shoes. And I've been given about 5 different explanations as to what this like extra flare is and why this curve looks like this. But one of the things that I will note on this shoe, it's really prominent. Like when I set it on a table, it kind of wobbles like a table that has like a wobbly leg and you want to put like something underneath it to make it stable. But this shoe kind of curves in this direction. I don't know I don't know if it's to aid with like a certain type of foot strike or like toe off kind of position, but it's just something that strikes me as unusual. I don't know if that's good, bad, doesn't make a difference. I don't know, but it's just like, I noticed it because when I would set it down to take B-roll footage of it, I would have to wait a second because it would kind of like micro shake a little bit as it was wobbling, and then it would settle down and then I could film it. But just something to kind of like keep an eye on. Felt really good in terms of the toe off. I got a good powerful feeling from that carbon fiber. I got a nice sense of cushioning from when the foot hit the ground. So all in all, like this fuel cell combo with the carbon fiber plate and this really dialed in upper that's super comfortable and just feels like a really snug fitting racing shoe. Not snug in like a I'm cramped in here kind of way, but like this feels nice, snug. I feel like I'm strapped in and ready to go. That's what the feeling that I got from this shoe. And I think that's a good way to describe the shoe overall. This is just ready to race. I think it's really well suited for the marathon distance. At least I think. I got to do some testing to actually prove that, but that's my hypothesis at this point. Because after this 8K race, definitely treated me really well, and I felt like this was a fantastic shoe to run in, and I can't wait to put more miles in it. If you have any questions about this shoe, you can put them in the comments down below, or better yet, I've been doing a live stream every day during kind of coronavirus lockdown times. So if you come to the live stream 3 p.m. Central Time, pretty much just about every day, come in and ask your questions there. That way I can get more feedback from you guys too, because a lot of times you guys will ask questions like, what's the better running shoe, this or that? And for me to really answer those questions, it helps for me to know like what you're looking for. Are you looking for a daily trainer? Are you looking for a marathon racer? Or are you looking for like a max cushion shoe? Like the definition of better changes depending on what you're looking for. So feel free to come to the live stream and ask questions. Otherwise, just hang out with other people that are running. We usually talk about running. A lot of times we don't, but it's just kind of a time for runners to kind of hang out. I like to think of it as like those couple of minutes after you're done with like a group one and everyone's kind of hanging out and getting ready to go back home when there's like that conversation. That's kind of the vibe that I'm going for there. So feel free to join us there and I'll love to answer questions there. Otherwise, put them in the comments down below and we'll talk about it down there too. Either way, works for me. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?